Hello and welcome to the Avrum Rosensweig Show.
Welcome to one of the internet's best podcasts, where we dive deep into the lives of the extraordinary and fascinating people who leave an indelible mark on our world. Join us as we explore their captivating stories, remarkable achievements, and unique perspectives that shape history and inspire generations. Get ready to embark on a journey through the lives of inspiring people unlike any other.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. It's called the Avrum Rosensweig Show. My name is Avrum Rosensweig. A couple months ago, we started a series. I call this series, What is it to be a Jewish warrior? What is it to be a Jewish soldier? Our guest at that time, and in part two, and today, is Nir Maman, who's become a very dear friend of mine. And he has because of the quality of the character of this man. Nir is originally from Israel. He moved to Toronto when he was a youngster, and he now lives in Richmond Hill with his beautiful wife and his lovely 5 children. He's also, at his heart, at his core, at the very soul of Nir Mammon, he is a fighter. He is a soldier. He is somebody who lives to protect the Jewish people and others. Hence, when he heard about October 7th, as we all did, we hunkered down. We tried to get information. Nir Mammon set about getting a ticket to Israel to fight. And he went. And then he came home. Thank God he was fine. Then he went a second time. And we have the honor of getting his attention, at least for a little bit today, because in a couple days, he will be going into Gaza. Nir is 47 years old. He is a Jew, he is a father, and he is a soldier. And we welcome you to the show, Nir.
Thank you, Avrum. Always a pleasure to be here with you. Hello to everybody on this spectacular Shabbat evening. I just want to quickly share with everybody this beautiful Shabbat sunset that we have here in Israel before we miss it as we go on.
Yeah.
This is what it's all about. It's such a blessing to be here and to watch God's beauty in play in our homeland. Shabbat shalom to everybody.
Shabbat shalom. So let's lead with an interesting question here. That you're in Eretz Yisrael. You are in Israel. You're not there to go down to Eilat and snorkel, right?
I wish.
Right?
I wish.
Can you take in what the Talmud calls the Avira Diara, the beauty of the land, the beauty of the aroma, the smells in Israel? Are you able, because of what you're doing, which is training to go into Gaza, can you take in the beauty of the land?
I'll tell you. So short answer is absolutely yes. And the reason being is that this beautiful land of ours is beautiful everywhere, every day, every night, in any direction you look, north, south, east, or west. We have so many moments, so right now, excuse me, we spent 3 very, very long and grueling and difficult weeks in a specialized training block with our unit. We just finished it yesterday. On average, 20 hours a day is how long we were going for, and the days only got more and more difficult. And there isn't a moment, whether you wake up 4:30, 5 in the morning, we get up, you step outside as the sun starts to come up. All the guys have their phones in there, snapping pictures and getting colleagues to take pictures of them with the sunrise in the background. And as the day starts to end and the sun starts to set in the middle of the desert where we were in southern Israel, you get these gorgeous sunsets, and all of us were taking pictures and taking pictures of each other. And we actually have one of our teammates. He's a photographer, and he brought his big, huge, fancy camera with him to document and to capture some nice memories of our 3 weeks. And he would quickly have us huddled in all kinds of positions and gather here and stand this way, and all of you look this way. And we have these gorgeous pictures with the skies and the clouds and the sun and the desert and the trees and each other. And you cannot escape the beauty that is our homeland of Israel. So yes, absolutely. You can take it in everywhere.
Nir, how human do you remain during this course of what we call it's a type of tiranut. It's a basic training because you're learning new things. How when you wake up in the morning and you've slept 4 hours, do you roll out of bed and you go, "Oh shit, man, I want to sleep," or is it more like, I'm going to get up and I'm going to learn more to fight for the Jewish people?
So okay, so you're always learning. There's no questions about that. There's always things to learn. This particular uh, battalion that we belong to now, it's a brand new battalion that was put together. It's comprised of warriors from all of our most elite units. And the unique thing about our battalion is that, with the exception of a few guys, everybody there is above the age of 40.
Wow.
And we have many guys. The majority of the guys have just 5, 10, 15, 20 years they have been out of the service. Sorry, Avrum, am I still with you?
Yeah, we got you. We lost you for a sec. We're good.
An interruption there.
We're good. Can you see me okay?
Avrum, you there?
Can you hear me? Yep. You see me? This is occupational hazard.
Avrum, can you hear me? I'm not sure if you can hear me. Everything
I
is
can. Yes,
frozen.
I can. Mm-hmm. You get us back? You get us back? We're still there? All right, we have some technical challenges here. I'm going to see if I can push this through. It's inevitable when you're speaking at such great distances, and his probably lack of great Wi-Fi. So let's see if we can just push this through and get Nir back. We're talking to Nir Maman, who is a IDF soldier, and he is in Israel right now, and we're speaking to him. He's at his cousin's place right before Shabbat to rest up before he goes into Gaza. Can you hear me and see me okay?
We're back now. Yeah, sorry. There's a little bit of interruption on the phone.
We're just going to push through here, okay?
All good.
Yeah, go ahead. Keep on talking.
So everybody is coming in. The majority of all the guys here, they have re-enlisted back into the IDF. Some of them after 10 to 20 years of being out of service. So there is a lot that there is to learn, but conversely, a lot of all the guys that come out of very elite units. And it's really, this training was designed more to get the rust off of everybody and get everybody into a cohesive team. So a lot of great things that we would learn, and a lot of things that's really, all of a sudden we're running through drills and you can just tell that everybody came from this world before, because it stays with you. Rolling out of bed every day, it's very difficult. And it's not just in the morning that, your eyes open up and you just want to stay asleep, but throughout the entire day, everybody is just saying the phrase of, when is this going to be done? I just want to get to bed already. And we have some funny videos and pictures of the likes, sure enough, most of all the guys, the moment you have a minute to sit down, sometimes we are sitting down for 15 minutes up to 45 minutes an hour while things are being, prepared, and we're waiting for things to be arranged for us to move on to the next march or the next location. And everybody passes out, everybody falls asleep. But you always have, one of the guys there who is up for whatever reason at the right time with the camera. And there's some funny videos and pictures that we have of of all of us. So the exhaustion, it's part of it. It's with you. And there are times where you wake up in the morning and you have no clue how you're going to function because of how tired you are. A week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks into it, and you're averaging 3 hours, once in a blue moon, maybe up to 5 hours of sleep, but specifically very, very short iterations of sleep. And you have no clue how you're going to safely and effectively perform, throughout the whole day. But you do it. That's what being a soldier is all about, so yeah.
Does that surprise you about yourself?
It reminds me about myself. I definitely had the moments where across my mind, I would ask myself, what am I doing here? I did my part, it hurts. inside, outside, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, it all hurts. I have a beautiful wife and beautiful kids and a nice warm bed waiting for me at home. And here I am, and then we start doing what we know to do. And I'm reminded why I'm doing it. This is, my wife picked up on this very, very early on. I remember she was having a conversation with my mother-in-law, with her mother, who asked, how in the world is he doing it? I have a lot of pain. I have a lot of injuries, and there's just so much, and I'm exhausted. And Simone, I remember telling her mother, Maya, when he puts on that uniform, you have no understanding what he turns into. And I see that transformation with my own eyes. I see what he's like in everyday life. And then all of a sudden that uniform goes on and nothing else exists other than the soldier he knows how to be. And so, I'm grateful for that. From wherever that comes from, it's there. So, I surprise myself many times, but I'm in my comfort zone. That's for sure.
Nir, what is that? What is that soldier? What do you become?
Well, that's a good question. At the forefront of it all, let me start with for lack of a better term, I'm going to say the obvious. At the forefront of it all, especially in these past few months, these past few weeks, and even these past few days, I'm sure many of the viewers here will already be acquainted with some of the new videos that have been released, specifically the ones that the parents of some of our hostages agreed to release to the public, of the young 18, 19, 20-year-old female IDF soldiers that were abducted. And they're brutal to comprehend, let alone to watch. There's, of course, the nonstop imagery in the videos of the children, the ones who are orphaned, the ones who are killed, the ones who are still in Gaza, God willing, hopefully alive. There is the things that you pick up, the memories that are built in with every step, everything that we do. When I was in Gaza, my last tour, every building we went into, every room we went into was dirty, filthy. The stench was atrocious. There are bugs everywhere of all kinds. It's very unsanitary. And I remember the very first time that it happened, that we blew open our breach point. We went in, and I was the first one into this one particular room that was everything I just described. And I had this reflex of suddenly kind of jerking back just from it all. I remember the smell hit me. And then all of a sudden I had a realization. We have these precious souls, these hostages of ours, that have been living in these conditions 24 hours a day for 223 days now. I have no right to complain. I have no right to allow to be challenged, hindered, slowed down by any of these, I'll call them discomforts. I don't know how else to package it all under one umbrella word. And so that's the very first thing that I become these days when I put on my uniform. I love being a man of service. I love being a protector. I love going after evil. I love doing all that. I love the physical challenges. I love the challenges where physically you can't anymore, but you have no choice. And so you suddenly discover a new part in your mind that you unlock that suddenly gets you through whatever the obstacle, the challenge is. I love all that. And that's, the standard list of all the ingredients, but at the forefront of it all is the reminder of the suffering, those who are still suffering, sitting in Gaza, the innocent souls. And that is what drives me. Like I've always said, I wish that I was, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have made any difference. I don't know. But like every single one of my colleagues, I wish that I could have been there from the moment everything happened on October 7th. Maybe I would have been able to then save even just one extra life. I don't know. Just to be there to even comfort, to comfort them. When you look at even the videos that were released just now, yesterday or 2 days ago, of the female soldiers who were abducted. There was one portion where they were all in a bunker. So sorry, there was a second video that was released pre the abduction of about 15 to 20 young Israeli girls that were stuck in this bunker, not knowing what's going on, and they're on their phones trying to call their loved ones, and you hear gunshots outside, and then all of a sudden you see a terrorist step into that shelter, and you can hear and you can see and you can feel this change on all these girls, that up until that point where that terrorist walked in, it's as if, my perception anyways, that they were in a dream, that they couldn't really, can't be real. It's got to be a nightmare. And then when that terrorist walks in, the realization that it's not a nightmare they're waking up from, and then everything goes blank. Like every other warrior and protector, all we want is to have been standing in that doorway, to be the one to greet that terrorist when he came in. Mm-hmm. That is the only thing that I see and I feel right now, and I live in my mind. And when I put my uniform on, that is the only thing that is driving me right now with all of this.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to Nir Maman, who is an IDF soldier about to go into Gaza in the next few days. We can't say where, we can't say what his task is, but we do know that he's representing each and every one of us throughout the world, all the Jewish people and all good people everywhere. At the bottom of his screen, you're going to see a PayPal link, and you'll see a ticker going by, which is speaks to some equipment which is required by reserve soldiers in the IDF. The paypal.com link, that is something that Nir has set up, and it is in order to raise money to buy equipment for his colleagues, for his friends, for his teammates, if you will, who similarly are going into Gaza. So we would ask you please to take a look what is needed to purchase, jot down this PayPal link, and please donate, and ask your family and friends to do the same, because the soldiers are our soldiers. The fight is our fight. It just so happens that they are stepping up on our behalf. Nir, I was telling my sister Chavi a few minutes before our interview. By the way, she's praying for you, and she's praying for your friends and colleagues all the time. She davens, she says Tillim, which is a Jewish prayer. If people want to say a Jewish prayer for Nir or for others, let me know, and I will get you his Hebrew name. And I was saying to her, when I speak to you, I feel very humbled. And I do, because we're two Jewish men. And we have had many of the same experiences as Jewish men. I know Richmond Hill. Shepherd and Bathurst, where I live. The shuls, the synagogues. Yes. I know your Sephardic community. My Ashkenazi community.
Sure.
And here you are, you as a Jewish man, you're fighting for me. So my level of appreciation, and I think I say this on behalf of everyone whom I know in our community, is huge. And I, from the depths of my heart, thinking about my son, my 18-year-old boy who will be going to university in September rather than into the tzava, I want to thank you. I just want to thank you so much for what you're doing for all of us.
Those words mean the world, and thank you so much for that. I'm only doing what I was born to do, what I know to do. It's like I keep telling everybody, as far as my humble opinion goes, this is a war against our people and our homeland, but against our people. And every single Jew is involved in this war. And I've been taught this many times in life, that God doesn't put a soul on this world without a purpose and without the tools that soul needs to be able to effect that purpose. And so every single one of us as Jews, we're involved in this war and we're all fighting. It looks different. All of our fighting looks different. Mine is on the battlefield with an M4 rifle in my hand. Yours is guiding the community. It's your voice. It's connecting and bringing people together, as we've already done, throughout our friendship. You've done for us, And at the minimum of the minimum, even if it is just being a proud Jew everywhere you stand right now, keeping your faith in God and letting that be the tool and the light that you bring to this world. Every single one of us are fighting together, and we're doing our part. And this is part of why we will win and succeed like we always have throughout history.
I'm Yisrael Chai.
I
I want to get into the practical here, because I think a lot of people wonder about your minute to minute, your moment to moment, your day to day. In a few days from now, you and your pluga, your group, will be entering Gaza. We can't say where, we can't say when. What happens on that morning, Nir, when you prepare yourself to go into the war zone? From a practical point of view, you pull on your uniform. How much does that weigh? You climb into a Hummer. How do you get into the war zone?
So the way it looks, we now are Shabbat evening. We have until essentially tomorrow evening to be at home, tomorrow night. By Sunday morning, many guys are going to get to base by tomorrow night. Some will get there very, very early before the sun goes up on Sunday. Our rally point, our base is in the far south. It's about 20 kilometers, I would say, from the Gaza border. That was the whole area where we conducted our training these past 3 weeks. And Sunday, we sign out all of our operational equipment, our operational rifles and our kit bags with everything. We put everything on again. You are spending hours on end preparing everything. You have your vest. You can't have any loose straps. You got to tie them up, tape them up. You're going through everything on your individual level, all of your equipment, and then on your team level as well. Every team has assigned responsibilities, assigned tasks, and so those have to be taken care of as well. We're going to go to the range. We're going to shoot some more, calibrate our weapons and our optics, zero everything in. Everything is minute by minute by minute. It happens. It's very condensed time. There really is no time, but all day Sunday will be nothing but preparations, and that will be interrupted by moments of rallying up for updates from our command. Here's what's happening in real time. Here's where we're going. Here's what you guys are going to do. And then our team commanders, based on that, will get together with our individual teams, and we will start to assign everybody's tasks. And sometimes that keeps on changing. It's rather dynamic. We are provisioned to go in from what we're told so far right now. It's going to be at the earliest, it's going to be Monday. At the latest, it might be Tuesday. But in between Sunday and whatever day it is, all we are doing is preparations in the likes of everything that I just explained. And to answer the way that it works is that yes, we have. It's going to depend on where we're going to be based out of. We have been given right now, I think, 2 potential blueprints for what our unit is going to be doing. And so based on that, that's going to depend on how we go in. But in general, we get brought up to a point that is very close to the border, about 1 kilometer away. And that is kind of the designated rally points for all the soldiers that are going in and being brought out for rotations. You have buses there, and you have tons of military vehicles there, and you have these little tents set up with, coffee and drinks and candy and snacks and that kind of stuff. From there, we take everything and we load it onto it's convoys of Hummers. And we go in. So we have a special mobile. The part of the armored brigades. These are the units that are doing all the transports. Essentially, they transport soldiers to their operational points. They transport supplies into Gaza. They recover injured or dead, whether it's soldiers or civilians, and they transport them out. And so those are the convoys that bring us in. You have a lineup of the convoys, and we start the drive. I have footage of all this on my GoPro. Actually, I'll send you so you can see. But it's kind of, I remember when I went in my last tour into Khan Yunis, I was in the back of the Hummer, and you reach the first fence. There's two layers of the fences, and you've got the IDF checkpoints there. And I'm sitting in the back of the Hummer, facing the rear, so I'm seeing everything that we're passing. And I remember when we cross the fence, you see the big fence, and you see the soldiers, and everything starts to disappear in the distance. The sky suddenly changed; it became different. It's you can tell you're in a whole different world all of a sudden. And then the further you go, the deeper in you go, you start to see all the rubble buildings and the sign of combat and engagements that took place. And you have the switch that suddenly happens. It gets more real, or it gets as real as it gets all of a sudden when you cross that fence. You're not in Kansas anymore, as Dorothy would say, and you feel it. And all of a sudden, that's where everything changes. When I was on the Hummer the first time, I jumped on. There were new guys there. My unit was already in. They went in 24 hours before I got to Israel. So they were driving me in. So this support convoy came. They picked me up, and in we went. And I had about 3 other soldiers in the back with me. And we're speaking, where are you from? And ironically, one of the guys next to me was an American. And we were talking, as much as we could over all the sound. But the moment that you cross that fence, everybody just knows instinctively to you close your mouth, you open your eyes and your ears, you tighten up on your weapon, you angle out a little bit more in a position to react. It's just instinctively. That's kind of the disposition that everybody falls into. And the sun sets very quick over there. Here the sun has already set behind us, but there's still a lot of light. In Gaza, there's nothing. You have the moon and the stars, and that's it, right? There's no electricity, and so it gets very dark, and very quickly. So we get to our outpost base, wherever it's going to be, whatever building it is that we've converted. You dismount, you get in, and you right away start setting up security and preparing for the first mission. That's kind of what it looks like and feels like.
Where do you sleep, and how much would you sleep?
So again, I don't know. I myself have 2 possibilities of where I'm going to be. I've been invited to join another team as well. That's part of our battalion, but they're dealing with something rather unique. So I don't know exactly where inside I'm going to be posted. So I don't know what that's going to look like. But I will share with you what it was on my last tour in Khan Yunis. We were in what was called the Villa. The Villa is about I would say maybe around a 4,500 plus or minus square foot home, 3 stories, with a open kind of roof on top, and it's this big white house with this red roof, big property, and these huge cement walls that kind of gate it in, and the whole front. There's nothing there. It's open and it goes right up to one of the main roads, and then you have all of Khan Yunis, beyond that road. There's a distance of maybe about 2, maybe 3 kilometers between the gate of the Villa and the urban built up areas of the Kasbahs and everywhere where we would operate in Khan Yunis. This villa at one point, like everything there, we took over. So the paratroopers were the ones that we replaced. They're the ones that went in, and at some point they had to engage terrorists to take over this building. So when you go in, I mean, there's no front door. There's holes in the walls. I mean, big holes. We use blankets. You bring hammers and nails and blankets, and we use those to make these makeshift kind of doors and windows to try to keep the elements out and to give us obviously some concealment. But everywhere you look, you know, every wall, every inch of wall is covered in one of two things: either remnants of bullet holes, impact of bullet holes, or fragmentation or shrapnel from grenades that went off in that house. And in between all those, all kinds of little, you know, I'll call it graffiti of soldiers who were there, and everybody leaves their mark. You know, they put their unit name, they put their name, you know, Nir was here, Gaza 2024 type of a thing. So you have that, you know, you have that all over. It gets dark very quick and there's no electricity. So we have these kind of these helmet lights. You have a white light, which is very bright, and then you have a red light, which is very low profile. Once the sun goes down, we're not allowed to have any white lights at all. We sit, you know, like this villa, it sits on this almost kind of like this top of this hill. And, you know, it's funny, when we go in 3, 4, 5 kilometers into the Kasbahs where we would operate, I remember the very first building that we raided and we took over, we finally got to the roof, and we get to the roof and cleared it. The operational front was always towards the north. We'd always come in from the south and we would be pushing towards the north. And our villa sat southeast of our operational zone. And I remember turning, and you see all these buildings, and then all of a sudden there's a hill, and you see the villa just sitting there, as exposed as anything can be. And I remember thinking to myself, if I was a terrorist with an RPG rocket launcher, I can hit our house from here. And, you know, you start to realize how exposed you are and how it's very important to keep, I forget in English the word lakpid, but to kind of to operate as law with all the rules that you're given. Sun goes down, no more white lights, red lights only. Helmet, vest, everything stays on 24/7. We have to sleep in all of our gear. You can take your helmet off and put it beside you, but you sleep in this heavy vest. Shoes have to stay on all the time. If you need to take your helmet off, for example, or your vest off, you have to go to one of the 2 designated points that we had in that house that are corners that are the most barricaded or protected. If, you know, God forbid something should happen, we come under attack, and that's the only spot where you can stand and take everything off. So guys, you know, after a couple of days, I mean, again, we're not showering. You guys want to clean themselves, so they use wet naps, you know, wet nap showers. In some cases, some guys would shower with water bottles, right? So you go in the corner, and we had a lot of donations of shampoos and soaps and things like that. So you use water bottles, wet yourself and then lather and then rinse yourself off. We had no towels. So a lot of the socks or the underwear, the boxer shorts or the T-shirts, those are what the guys would use as towels to dry themselves off. And that's how life is. And you just kind of roam around there inside until it's your time to go out on a mission. So sleep, again, was very little, because there definitely were times, all of our missions were during the day, not at night. And there's many reasons for that. But, you know, once you finish your final briefing, let's say in the evening time, around dinner time, you sometimes would have a couple hours off, but your night is always interrupted by guard duty, right? So we are responsible for our own protection. On every floor, on every side of the house, we have security posts where you would have 2 or 1 soldier that have to kind of man those posts, and that's on all 3 floors of the house. And those security posts are what our lives depend on when we're there. You know, I'll give you. It's not graphic by virtue of what happened, but it's a kind of a scary situation. But to give you an idea of the volatility and the exposure that we are in constantly there. a week before we went in to replace the paratroopers brigade in this villa, in the middle of the night, two of the paratrooper soldiers were on guard duty. Now you have night vision they're supposed to use. It's not the most modern night vision, unfortunately. And you're supposed to have it on at night all the time when you're on post. You're supposed to keep your talking down. You're supposed to keep your eyes open. I don't know what the disposition was, of the two soldiers, what they were doing, how they did see or didn't see what was coming. That I don't know. So I'm not judging, but a Hamas terrorist with a handgun managed to get through the front opening of the property. And we're talking a distance of maybe about 30 meters between where they're sitting, which is right at the porch of the villa, and where the boundary would be of the front of the property. He snuck all the way through, and he was able to run right up to them. And from zero distance, he pulled his gun out. Well, he had his gun in his hand. He shot both of them. One was shot right in the teeth, in the mouth, and the other one was shot luckily in the helmet. And that was almost a week before we came in to replace them. And so you have to keep on being reminded, which every day at 5 a.m., we have a debrief from the command. And it is just, you might as well record and just hit play. It's the same thing over and over. It's reorientation with where north, south, east, west is, all of our posts in the house and what they're responsible for doing, for looking out for. In case X happens, then this is what you do. So every day we have about a half an hour long debrief. You could have come off, one of the posts, guard duty at 4:30 in the morning, 4:45, and you just put your head down for a minute, and then you're woken up. Everybody comes down for that, and it is a constant reminder of where we are, the threats that we face, and what we need to do. And we have to keep on reminding ourselves of that and each other of that, because it's very easy to get caught up, in complacency. That's just natural human nature, and especially when you're exhausted. So that's kind of the environment. That's what it looks like. Yeah.
How's the food?
Okay, so I got to say, the IDF, I remember from going back from 15, 20 years ago. I mean, it's improved day and night with food. The field rations are much better as far as the type of food that we have. So we would have a kitchen of this villa, and that's what we would use as the kitchen. Now, there's no refrigerator or ovens and things like that, but it was packed from floor to ceiling with provisions. Every 48 hours, the supply trucks would come in to bring us things, and you get boxes. You open up and you see what the surprise is. You have bags of bamba and bisli. You have protein bars, granola bars. You would have canned stuff, canned chickpeas and corn, and tuna. And when you reach in and grab a can, it's always the biggest bummer when it's one of those cans that you need a can opener to open, right? Some of the cans have that little tab that you flip and you open.
Did you have a can opener on any of your equipment?
Well, yes. Everybody, they are there. They're these little, and the IDF supplies them. They come in the boxes, these little metal can openers, and you just kind of have to, it's not automatic, like with the way that we're used to the home one. You just have to hold the can opener in place and rotate. It's this tooth, and you have to manually, puncture and open, puncture and then work the can around. The problem, though, is that, again, there's no way to sanitize things there. There's no. So for washing hands, for example, we would have tons of bottled water, which was great. And then we'd have soap, whether it's shampoo or dish soap, and that's kind of what you would improvise to do things like washing your hands. But there's no clean dishes. There's no way to clean utensils, and myself, I'm very, ironically, how I became a soldier, I don't know. I'm borderline hypochondriac, I just, I can't touch things and I don't want to use things if I didn't clean them myself, and I know for a fact that it's safe to do so. And the problem is, now let me just go back. We have, for example, you have boxes of tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers and fruits. The problem is that the place is infested with cats, infested, and they're not clean. They're living in filth, and we don't have doors and windows. And every single moment these cats they come sneaking in, and they go right to the kitchen, and they walk on everything, and they take bites of everything, and so by virtue of that, for me, I didn't. After my first 4 days when I was in there, I just couldn't touch anything anymore. I couldn't eat anymore, and I would definitely would not touch anything if it wasn't packaged, and I opened it. If there's something that was open and left there, wouldn't be able to eat it. And so my menu became a lot shorter pretty quick. Now I will give them this. This was great. Every Shabbat, every Friday, the supply chain would bring us either fresh pizzas, or we would have shawarma or falafel. So there was a place, not far outside of Gaza in Israel, that the army. I don't know if it was by donations, if the army would go and buy it. I don't know how, but this place would prepare. They would bring in 30, 40 boxes of pizzas, or these, 5-6 boxes filled with these individual wrapped falafels or shawarma. And that was great. Everybody looked forward to Shabbat, for that. And then, yeah, and that's it, and you stuff into your pack and your pockets whatever you can carry when you're going out into the field. Beef jerky was always a treat. Beef jerky was a treat. Once in a while, there'd be a bag of beef jerky in there, and believe me, that went really quick. Everybody loved that. But that's what it was like. I already had in my mind, what my first meal was going to be when I got out of Gaza, and I couldn't wait for it. A nice big vibrant salad with all these great vegetables, and I treated myself to that as soon as I came out. This was the first thing that I did. My appetite shrunk like there was no tomorrow, because I didn't eat for about 2 weeks. There's a lot of reasons behind why, not just the hygiene of the food and everything, but I started to associate everything that I was seeing and everything that I was smelling. And every time I would so much as look at food, those visuals, those visions, and the smell would suddenly be present, even inside the house. And my appetite just shut off completely. I don't know how I went on that long, but it was. And so, even as the days were going by, when we would get things like pizza or shawarma, I would have a nice big shawarma, and I'd be able to take 2, 3, maybe 4 bites, and then my whole system would just shut off. I just couldn't even swallow anymore. So I lost a lot of weight, and it took me a while when I got out. It took me almost about a week and a half before I can finish meals. When we got out, when we got dismissed, we leave Gaza, we go back to base. We had a day. Yeah, we slept overnight. So we had a whole day to clean up, shower, prepare, pack. The next day we had all the debriefing talks with the commanders and everything. And then we were dismissed. And I had a ride back with one of the guys who was heading north. And we stopped on the way for a shawarma at a nice restaurant. And I was so looking forward to eating. I was hungry. And ordered this nice big dish, French fries and shawarma and salad. And we sat down, 2, 3 bites in, and I couldn't eat anymore. I was feeling sick, and I just physically couldn't even eat. So it took me over a week, about a week and a half, to finally be able to get through a meal normally. So I'm not looking forward to that happening again, I'll tell you. But it is what it is. It's all good. I survived the first time. I will survive again. But yeah, that's what it's like.
Nir, when you're in there, does anyone light Shabbos candles?
Absolutely. Every Shabbat we do a Kabbalat Shabbat. We get together, we light candles, we sing, we pray, wish each other a Shabbat Shalom, have our quick briefing, and off we go. But that 100%, absolutely.
I noticed in one of your pictures you put tefillin on, phylacteries, as we call them in English. Are there soldiers who bring their tefillin with them?
Yes, yes, there are. And yeah, I don't bring my own. Unfortunately, it's literally you have a bag, you have your kit bag, this big 100-liter bag that has everything that you need and everything that you think you might need, and then double everything. And I didn't bring my tefillin, but there's always guys there that have. And as soon as you have a moment to go into a corner and put it on, then we do, absolutely.
You can't bring your phone, so what reminders of your family do you bring with you?
Yeah, that's the most difficult one. So there's quite a few reasons to why we're not allowed to bring our phones in. I don't know that I can list all of them, but kind of the obvious reasons. If you lose your phone in the field and it gets in the hands of the terrorists, which it has happened, it's highly problematic. There's obviously if you get taken by the terrorists, by Hamas, you get abducted, or if you're killed and the terrorists get your body before your colleagues do, and you're dragged into a tunnel and you have your phone on there, obviously the terrorists are going to take advantage of that in many ways. For them, it's a matter of trying to acquire as much intel as they can on the IDF and what we're doing, and other very, very nefarious things. You've obviously, everybody has heard more than enough of the stories of some of our fellow Jews that were killed, in which the terrorists filmed everything on the phones of the victims and then sent those to the victim's family from their own phones. There's things like that. There's obviously the security factor. We can't have everybody going and filming everything and posting it, and sending it. So there's that kind of the operational security, the OPSEC as we call it, element to it. But basically what happens is the commanders, they have their phones on them. Guys who have unique predicaments, we'll call it, such as myself, that my life is in Canada, my family, and there's still affairs to tend to, right? So whenever I would need to use a phone, I would have to use one of the commander's phones, which is very inconvenient. Sometimes it's not available because the commander needs it. Reception is obviously horrible. There were very few times that when I had the phone, I had a few minutes to be able to actually make a WhatsApp call, for example, to call my family. We would have a few seconds to speak, and then all of a sudden all the reception would die. But that's the only way to do it. There's a chain of communication that goes on, right? So my family has the names and numbers of all the relevant people in my unit, our commanders, the logistics officers, and vice versa. The Army, of course, has all my family's information. If there's anything urgent that arises, then the message will get to one of our unit members who is not in Gaza, and then that will be transferred to the right people until it reaches you in the field. I did have a few occasions where I needed my phone because I had to take care of things on my phone. I had to do some banking stuff. I had to sign documents. I had to do things, and so they would actually have the phone every 48 hours. We have a supply convoy that comes in, and they would bring me my phone, and I'd be able to quickly do what I could. When there was reception, fantastic. When there wasn't, it was frustrating. And then the supply guys would be there, sometimes for only 20 minutes, sometimes maybe for an hour. As soon as they're ready to go, I'd have to give my phone back, and they would bring it back to base for me. So that's a very challenging aspect, of course. It's frustrating not being able to, be in touch. I mean, forget having some form of an escape, insanity, like playing Angry Birds or something. But at least just knowing that you can't also be in touch when you need to with your loved ones, or that you're accessible to them as well. It's kind of scary, and it's not a comforting aspect, but it is what it
Not,
is. It comes with territory.
not asking you to be too intimate, but when you get Simone, your wife, on the phone and you're in Con Yunis, what would be the essence of the conversation?
Um, as much as possible, as quick as possible, updates. I have 5 reports that I need to get on 5 kids, right? So
Yes.
what's new and what's happening, and
Yes.
how things are at home.
So you ask about each kid. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Or in order of relevance or priority, whatever kid is at the top as far as whatever is new or happened or is required, then it would funnel down that way. But you know, a lot of words of encouragement back and forth. A lot of I love yous and I miss you, and um, I'm just trying to think back. I'm trying to remember all the conversations. There's a group, right? So some of the units have like a WhatsApp group that is set up for the wives or families of the guys on the teams that are inside, and so that way they have a small community of support. And there's a way to also have information, kind of delivered to everybody through one place. And there's times where, again, the commanders have their phones, so they would take some pictures, or we'd be about to board the APC or the tank to go on a mission, and I'd grab the commander and say, "Quick, take a picture of me. I want to take a picture for my wife." So you take a picture and then load it up to the group, or I would have Simone's number obviously programmed into all my commanders' phones. So whoever it is that I grab, I have access right away, and I can send her, some pictures or whatever is going on. But it's just trying to, within a matter of sometimes honestly less than a minute, because that's all the time that we would have, whether it's all the time that we had before we had to go do stuff or I had to give the phone back, or that's how long reception lasted for, or whether it's a few minutes. It's just trying to get caught up on life and reminders of what we're doing, why we're doing it, how important we are to each other, and counting down the minutes, literally counting down the minutes.
Nir, what is Simone like?
What is she like?
Yeah, what in all of this, what is she like?
Simone, actually, our local synagogue, Chabad of Maple, June 4th, she is going to be giving a talk. I don't know if it's for women only, but the synagogue has invited her to give a talk of encouragement and motivation, and a little bit of what it's like to be the wife of an IDF soldier who's deployed in a very dangerous war, and the mother of kids whose father is deployed in a very dangerous war. I think that's the best place that you'll be able to get the answers for that. But in a snapshot, I mean, look, I can't stop to count my blessings with this perfect soul that God gifted me with in Simone. It's she's a very, very strong woman. Not to say that she isn't human and doesn't feel her stresses and her pains, and but I have learned more when it comes to life in my time that I have been with my wife, with Simone. I have learned the most and have grown the most in every possible way, thanks to her. Thanks to there were times where I would literally, there'd be a situation and she would be able to teach me about that situation, how it was, how I was, what was needed, what could have been done, and there was times where just flowing through this magical river of life with her. And, a lot of things in life I would not be blessed with if it wasn't for her. I wouldn't be a father. Just so many things that because of her, I have been able to learn so much, to become so much more than I ever imagined that I could be. I know what it is that we are dealing with here, what we're going through. I know how difficult it is on a family. I've seen it firsthand. I've been in this business for 28 years. There are not many marriages and policing in the military world that last. There's a lot of issues, a lot of things that it causes for so many reasons. And yet I have this woman in my life who is so devoted to this cause as well, to our country and to our people, to what our kids need in this world, which is the safety coming from our community as well. That if look, I was explaining to her very briefly, very, very briefly, what it is that I might be doing in Gaza, the invitation that I received. The issue is that it's a potential 2-month commitment that I'll be inside for. And her first reaction was, that is incredible. You should do it. I have no words for that. I'm doing right now what I know to do best in life. I'm doing, maybe I'm just blind to it, but what God has created me for, as far as I think, I don't know that there's anything else. This is the thing. And I'm being enabled and allowed to do it to its fullest. And that in and of itself is just very remarkable for me. That it's not that she's allowing me to, but she is able to step up and put on her shoulders, 99% of everything that our life is, and still try to deal with a lot of things that she is tackling right now. She's doing exams right now. She's upgrading her certifications in her field to be a functional diagnostic nutritionist, and it is just books this thick upon books, and and she is still squeezing that in everywhere she can. While at the same token, it's not lost on either of us that her husband, her partner in life, is here in a war zone, a very dangerous war zone. Every day we have headlines of soldiers being injured, being killed. And I know what that must be like for her, on her mind and on her heart. But I still get nothing but all of the support to do what needs to be done. And that just speaks volumes of, who my wife is. She is a real life Wonder Woman. And that's what she's like in a nutshell.
Nir, you're a lot of things. You're a father, you're a husband, you're a community person, you're a soldier. You're also your mom and dad's little boy, right?
Yeah, that never changes.
How did they deal with all this?
It's no different, I mean, it's no different. I know how much they're worried and worrying, and I know what it's like to be a parent. Obviously,
Yeah.
I know the stresses. I know just the thought of your child falling down and scraping up their knees makes your heart both stop and race at the same time.
Yes.
And so I know the effect that I'm having on many in my life, the people in my life. It's a difficult responsibility to carry, It's life, though. It's I don't know. I know how hard it is. I appreciate it. I see it all. I get it. I wish there were things that I could say, things that I could do, minus not being here, of course. That would help to alleviate all that. Yeah, nothing ages you quicker in life than being a parent. That's all I'll say about that.
Yes, no question about that.
Yes.
Nir Maman, I have to tell you something. My show is all about inspiring humankind and giving us the opportunity to look at who we are and the incredible creations that we're responsible for, the beautiful world that we have created, and along with its pockmarks. But I look at the world and I see so much beauty and I see so much talent. And when I listen to you during our interview, I have to tell you, what comes to mind is that you are a magnificent communicator. You tell a wonderful story, a difficult story, a challenging story, a beautiful story. You are a fine, fine representation of the Tzava, of the IDF, and of our people. I have to tell you that
Thank
you
you.
are so highly articulate, and I am so inspired. And when we have
Thank
people
you.
responding to our interviews, this is the third we've done, and Mirza Shem, God willing, we'll do our fourth very soon. Um, they talk about that.
Wow. I'm very humbled, and thank you so much for that. I was a very, very, very shy child. It took me a
Yeah,
long time to come out of my shell. You know,
and then you really did.
and when I did, I guess I did. But you know
You
what it
really
is? It's
did,
not.
man.
I'll tell you. I don't speak like this all the time and about everything. I think that it's who you're speaking with, what you're speaking about. You know, um, I I do love to share. I love experiences. I love to hear people's experiences. I love to share experiences. I love, when there's things that I experience in life that brings emotions, brings joy and happiness. I love to give that back, and I love to do it in a way that hopefully will pass that emotion on to whoever it is that I'm speaking with. Um, I've always been a kid who's loved movies and stories, and I love getting lost in things and being connected. That's what it is really, is being connected in the moment, whatever you're doing, whatever you're saying, talking about, thinking about. There's nothing that's more um, magical than being truly connected to it. And so you get to really experience it in a three-dimensional plane. And I guess maybe that's where it comes from. But thank you.
Oh, you're wonderful. Just wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a PayPal link. That is one that Nir set up. And he did so because he wants to raise money to purchase equipment, which is required by reservists. Unfortunately, not all the equipment that they use or that they're given is of top quality. So please take a look at that. Jot down the PayPal link and do your very best to donate. That is your contribution in part to the war in Gaza. If you have any questions, feel free to call me or be in touch with me at avrum.rosensweig at gmail.com. Do you sing at all?
I It doesn't sound the way it does. It doesn't sound to the world the way it does in my mind when I do. Let's
Can
put it
you
that way.
can you sing to end the show? Can you sing Shema Yisrael? Shema Yisrael. Can you sing that?
Uh, we will sing it together.
Yeah. We'll sing it together. 1, 2, 3. Shema
Shema
Yisrael
Yisrael
Adonai
Adonai
Eloheinu
Eloheinu
Adonai
Adonai
Echad.
Echad.
Shabbat Shalom, my friend.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And I really look forward to our next interview. I really do. God willing, you should be well. You should be protected by God. All of your friends, all of your colleagues, all of these Jewish warriors should be watched over by God. And thank you. Thank you, Nir, for doing what you're doing, for protecting the Jewish people. There's a lot of bad shit going on out there. I am so happy you're on our team. It's like having a damn good defenseman and a guy who knows how to
Me
play
too.
offense. I am so grateful for who you are and what you've chosen in life. So I love you. I really do. And I thank you
I love
for
you too.
everything.
Thank you, Avrum. Thank you,
Shabbat
brother.
shalom. We will talk soon,
Shabbat
okay?
shalom.
Laila tov.